In this next section, we're going to solve some simple inequalities. Remember, inequalities are solved just like equations using the idea of inverse operations, so the idea that addition and subtraction undo each other, and multiplication and division undo each other, and the golden rule of algebra. What I do to one side, I must do to the other. The one thing we have to remember with inequalities is that if we multiply or divide by a negative number, we have to flip the sign. So we'll keep that in mind as we work through these inequalities. So 25 says, which inequality is a solution to m minus 3/8 is greater than 1/2? So I'm just trying to get the m by itself. This is m minus 3/8, so I'm going to add 3/8 to both sides. Negative 3/8 plus 3/8 is 0, leaving me with m. I'm just adding, so I don't need to flip anything. I'm going to keep my same sign, which was greater than, and then 1/2 plus 3/8, you could use a calculator. I'm going to solve. I'm going to get a common denominator here by multiplying this by 4 over 4. So I get 4 over 8 plus 3 over 8 equals 7 over 8. So m is greater than 7/8 is my solution. And that answer is A. We're going to take a look at the next one, 26. It says x minus 7 is greater than 3. To get the x by itself, I'm going to add 7 to both sides. Negative 7 plus 7 gives me 0, leaving me with x is greater than 3 plus 7 is 10. X is greater than 10, that would be A. Looking at number 27, my variable here is t. It says 3 is greater than or equal to t plus 1. In order to get the t by itself, I'm going to subtract 1 from both sides. 3 minus 1 is 2. My sign is greater than or equal to t, and then plus 1 minus 1, that cancels. So 2 is greater than or equal to t, but all my options have the t first, so I want to flip this. T is less than or equal to 2. So the answer here is C. For this next one, I have 1 is greater than or equal to negative y over 4. My variable here is y, so I'm dividing by 4, but I also have this negative out in front. So to get the y by itself, I'm going to multiply both sides by negative 4. Multiplying by a negative 4 cancels the negative, and it cancels the 4, leaving me with y. But I'm multiplying by a negative number, remember the rule, so I have to flip. And I usually write myself a little note that says flip so I don't forget. So this inequality symbol here, we multiplied by a negative, is going to flip the other way. So my y is on this side, so instead of being y is less than, this is going to flip this way. And then negative 4 times 1 is negative 4. It's just itself. But all of our answer choices have y first, so I want to flip this around. So y is greater than or equal to negative 4 would be my solution here. And that is B. Next we'll look at number 29. I have 5m is less than negative 25. My variable is m. To get the m by itself, I'm going to divide both sides by 5. I'm dividing by a positive 5, so there's no need to flip. I'm left with m is less than negative 25 divided by 5 is negative 5. So the answer here is D. Next I have negative 36 is less than or equal to 3t. My variable is t. I want to divide by 3 on both sides to get the t by itself. Again, I'm dividing by a positive number, so there's no need to flip. Negative 36 divided by 3 is negative 12, which is less than or equal to 3 divided by 3 is 1, leaving me with t. But once again, I want to flip this so the t comes first. T is actually greater than or equal to negative 12, which is A. Looking at 31, I have negative 1/3 h is less than or equal to 6. When I get the h by itself, I have a fraction being multiplied in front, so I'm going to multiply by its reciprocal. The reciprocal of 1/3 would be 3 over 1, or just 3. And I also want to multiply by negative 3 to get rid of that negative. What I do on one side, I must do to the other. So on this side, negatives cancel. The 3 on top cancels with the 3, leaving me with h. But I did multiply by a negative number, a negative 3, so I need to flip my sign. So h is greater than or equal to 6 times negative 3 is negative 18, which is D. Number 32, h plus 3 is greater than or equal to 2. My variable here is h. I'm going to subtract 3 from both sides. So I'm left with h is greater than or equal to negative 1, which is B. On number 33, my variable here is x. I want to get that by itself. First, I'm going to subtract 12 from both sides so that these 12s cancel, and I'm left with 4x is greater than negative 10. To get the x completely alone, I'm going to divide both sides by 4. 4 over 4 gives me 1x. I divided by a positive, so there's no need to flip. I keep my sign, greater than. Negative 10 over 4 can't be divided out evenly, but I can simplify this. 4 goes into 10 2 times, so I'm left with negative 2 and negative 2.5, and you could also plug that in your calculator. So x is greater than negative 2.5, and that is A. Number 34, I'm solving for my variable y, but I have y's on both sides. The first thing I'm going to do is get those y's together on the same side. 6y minus 4y is 2y, minus 8 is greater than. These y's cancel, and I'm left with 26. To get the 2y by itself, I'm going to add 8 to both sides. Negative 8 plus 8 cancels, leaving me with 2y is greater than. And then 26 plus 8 would be 34. In order to get the y completely alone, I'm going to divide both sides by 2. Y is greater than 34 divided by 2 is 17. So the answer is D. On this next one, I'm solving for my variable D. I have D's on both sides, and they're also both inside parentheses, which means I'm going to use the distributive property. 3 times 2D is 6D. 3 times negative 1 is negative 3. Drop my sign, greater than or equal to. 4 times 2D is 8D. And 4 times negative 3 is negative 12. And the negative 3 just drops down. I want to simplify anything that I can, which means on the right-hand side I can simplify negative 12 minus 3. So I'm left with 6D minus 3 is greater than or equal to 8D minus 15. Next, I want to get my D's together on the same side. So I'm going to subtract 8D from both sides. 6D minus 8D is negative 2D. I'm left with minus 3. It's greater than or equal to negative 15. To get this negative 2D by itself, I'm going to add 3 to both sides. I'm left with negative 2D is greater than or equal to negative 12. And finally, I'm going to divide both sides by negative 2. I am dividing by a negative number here, so I need to flip my symbol. These negative 2's cancel, and I'm left with D flipped is negative or less than or equal to 6. I didn't mean for this notation to be here. We're just looking at our answer choices on the inside here. Don't worry too much. That's just a special kind of notation called set notation. And so the correct answer here is D.